Okay, hello, this is Krill speaking. I'm doing this as a one-off because I don't actually have an awful lot of time and someone has asked me to do a full overview for one of the civs in this game. This is not really this game's Pit Boss 18, um, and this is a game that really I'm not playing. I'm not really playing this as the turn player. This is really novice's game, and I'm just dead lurking him. But I've actually been involved quite a bit with playing it, so you could argue it with teammates. We do make some decisions together, but I really think of it as novice has the final veto over everything. So, in the terms of me doing this overview now, this is very much just my opinion of what could be done rather than this is what will happen, because novice gets to decide, pick and choose basically. He decides what's going to go. This is actually quite an interesting game. It's the first 33 player games. The first game has been played with more than 18 people on Realms Beyond. It is also played with with the rebalancing the realms mod. Well, when this was made, it was actually the RB mod. Um, this is one of the later versions. There's an awful lot of changes to it, to the base game, I mean, and this has enabled us to play with essentially random leaders and civs, using every single civ in the game. India, however, was taken over by the it was used to the lurker civ that and they were all given great spies. So basically, there's a lurker civ in the game that has overview of everything that's occurring. So what I'm going to give now as an overview is purely that of a player's overview of understanding of one civ, rather than a global lurker's view of the whole game. Now, the brief history is that our start was just a little bit too weak. If it had a plains hill, it would have been absolutely fine, no problems at all. But because we didn't have that plains hill here, and because one of our nearby opponents, Dite, essentially did have one. We've checked from the demographics early in the game, did have one, and the fact he had much better early game traits in expansive and protective, he's been able to snowball out to a really strong lead in this game, and as you can tell from score, he's very near like number one. Now, Dite is a very, very good player. Everyone should respect him. He's not really made a mistake. Now, some people may think that I'm being a bit bitter, saying that, oh, he had a better start than us. That's simply an acceptance that he had a plains hill and we didn't. Other than that, there's not an awful lot of difference that we can tell, except some of his starts were a little bit better geopolitically, in terms like one of his cities towards us here, Gronk, which was settled turn 38, before we even got down our second city. That's his third one. Inner ring, pig, copper and gold, and it's towards an opponent. Whereas because we were so slow, we had to settle our second city for the strongest possible position, which was for a lot of food. We're creative. We got all the automatic border pop. This was a jungled sugar. We had rice, clam, and dry corn, and we had to settle that city because it was the only city we could settle that had enough food that we could kind of bootstrap our way back into the game, because we had such a slow start. And actually, settling Dire Straits was actually the main reason why we've gone down the route we have with the way we've settled our cities, grabbing so much land. But because with the way where Dire Straits was positioned, we had to settle a defensive border that incorporated Dire Straits into that. And if we had not settled as aggressively as we did, it would have been sticking out like a sore thumb, and it would have been snapped off by Dite 30 turns ago. So where are we now? We're now at turn 134. We are in a real big tech hole compared to Dite, and probably compared to a few others. We do not have civil service. We are nowhere near getting into bureaucracy because we need our first golden age to get in, we need our second great person to get into our first golden age, and we are turn limited on that because we don't have enough specialist slots, because we don't have code of laws, because we don't have code of laws, we don't have caste. So we're stuck using one of our cities has just finished a market, and I believe we'll just we'll run 2 merchants here and we'll just pump it out quickly in 13 turns. Our first great person went on an academy. We did not have to use the scientist on the academy. We could have saved it and used it for a golden age. However, we had to blitz our way up to engineering as quickly as possible because Dite had, God, he got to knights by turn 120 and we'd only just gotten to war elephants at construction. He got thousands of beakers more than us very quickly because of his start, which he did play it perfectly. He didn't just overexpand and tank his economy. He got a religion. He used his early available extra commerce from the gold to get a religion, and he's just snowballed it really effectively. I cannot say that he's made a mistake, because I don't think he has. So everything we are doing, every single thing, is aimed around how we stop Dite from attacking us and how we stop him from using his tech advantage to take us out of the game. Now, right now, he's just finished his conquest of most of Huzit's land. He's only taken maybe one city up here, I think, because this Mankins is this was one of his southern cities. I think he took one from Huzit and then he's killed 3 more. We killed one city, Overland Park, and we resettled it slightly further down, more defensive. He's in cast, isn't he? Let me just check something now. F4 info Dite. Yeah. Now this is an interesting point. As I said, we're doing everything we can to play defensive. In this area here, where we settled Pidgin English, we're going to pop borders at the end of this turn. But Dite's run a bunch of artists, and he's popped borders. And he's going to try and keep control over that grassland hill. Now, ultimately, he needs to do that because it stops Willow Lake from being attacked by us. Now, we can't attack him. It's like the whole point is that if we had control over that grass hill, we could run in and attack Willow Lake. It's on a hill. We'd be attacking over a river. He has knights. We have horse archers. We cannot attack him. There is no point on this. Now, with him holding that, he can attack Pidgin English. He can come over and he can crush it. Sure, he could do. We can't actually stop him doing that. We acknowledge that. That's why we're just chucking a few war elephants and basically position that if he does do that, we might kill some of his knights. It's just making it an uneven hammer trade. He might still go for it. We know we can't stop it. Dite, meanwhile, is trying to take over all of this, all of Chitator's land. Now, again, we're not going to stop him. We can't. We're not going to bother trying. It's not worth it. Huzit has a huge amount of crap in here. It's all ancient era junk. The problem is, there's no way. Well, no, he has just too many catapults. He's got what in there, like 8, 9 catapults? Or is it 10? I can't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 catapults that I can see. We can't actually walk up to that because of the units we have. We don't have knights. We've only got a few pikes. He's got a bunch of axes in there. And it's a lot of ancient era junk. Realistically, we want to be using crossbows to deal with that. We have machinery because we blitzed our way to engineering, but because of the amount of catapults, we actually need sheer numbers to soak up the collateral damage. We just don't have the numbers. We don't have a good manufacturing base. So really, to understand what we're doing now, you have to understand the history of why we're in this position. Because this isn't a well-run civilization by any means. It's been dealing with the short-term threats from Dite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the cities first of all. I'm going to start with our current capital. There's a bunch of signs up. I actually am going to have to leave them for the moment because they're for novice to look at, so he understands the basic approach for tech. But the idea is we just save gold. Dite's finishes education, and by that point we'll have enough gold to research all the way through code of laws and maybe a good chunk of feudalism. But anyway, capital, old timers. This city is not what you'd have thought it was when you saw it originally. It was it's been used, abused really, because we've chopped out a bunch of settlers and workers from it. It was horrible. It was still too slow. It's now just working a bunch of cottages. That's all this city will do. It worked a few tiles for Eggcorn, the city down here. This city is going to be our new capital, new bureaucracy capital. It's building the palace now. It's given up a bunch of tiles to it. All the time has worked a cottage. It's working on another one now. But it's working everything because we just need every single scrap of commerce we can get to stay afloat and to continue to tech, because we're not teching all that well. Well enough to keep up with the known tech bonus as it is, but not amazingly well. The aim for this is to continue to grow. As you can see, the happy cap's insane. It's just absurd. Same with the health cap. We can grow another 7 pop here. We've barely got the food to do so. I mean, we got food surplus of 3 if we mine that. Irrigate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we could just about do it. Irrigate this one, do it. It's fine. The hope was originally we could turn this to a hammer city, maybe even a heroic epic city, but because we were so slow on tech, we needed the commerce, we had to cottage it. This is actually less efficient in my view, but you do what you have to. Next city, Dire Straits, is... I should have whipped the castle last turn if I thought it would matter against Dite, but we don't think he's going to attack us, or at least not yet. You might start seeing that a lot of the happiness situation here is not as good as elsewhere, but that's because we've been whipping our city so hard. It's +4 on happiness. It's going to take 38 turns for the whip on happiness to disappear from this city. And that's actually similar for quite a lot of cities all the way through this empire. That's just because we weren't able to get the necessary tech to give us better workshops so that we could use hammers that way. We had no choice but to whip. So we whipped, so we got stacked the unhappiness. We focused on prioritising as many happiness resources as we could, including through representation, through the pyramids, which is why we went for that early and we finished it about turn 99. The aim here is going to be to finish the castle, and then ideally just to grow vertically. We don't quite have enough workers, and I'm building a few more in a few outlier cities, but the aim would be generally to workshop some of these tiles and get some hammers flowing, because we're going to need them soon. Dite is teching well, is killing CH. Yeah, he's Zululand, so he'll die soon, and then we're the only logical target left, unless he decides that we'll just grind him out, and he might kill us eventually, but it's not worth the cost because it takes him too long. So he might attack someone else. We don't know. We don't have enough map knowledge over that area to decide. But we will need hammers to defend. We'll need better tech. But so right now, the aim is to grow a lot of our city so that we are able to build those units once we get that level of tech, and it's making sure that we actually get that tech quickly enough to do so. And we can't exactly whip anymore. So we're growing Dire Straits. We'll likely try and get a forge. We might, for example, whip a forge if we can get it down to a 3-turn, a 3-pop whip, which would be 70 hammers. So we'd need to get like 50 in, because we have gems, we have gold, we have silver. That would help alleviate some of that happiness issue, because we can only grow it to size 13. By that point, that unhappiness won't have disappeared anywhere near. That's like 3 turns away. So we might have to whip that. But we only make 8 hammers a turn. So, issues. So we might have to 4-whip it. You just do what you have to. Onwards. Turtle Line is one such city that we're looking at whipping, or I am. Novice probably doesn't want me to, but I don't have much choice. There's just no tiles to work. I'm focusing on... Just come out a moment. Focusing on roading here from Whale Away all the way up, so we can deal with anything that happens with Who's. If he moves these units down, he doesn't have engineering, so it'd only be like 1, 2, if something roaded 3, for example, or 3, and then like 1, 2, stage 0 on the 3rd, and then move in. We couldn't. We'd have to run everything down. We do have engineering, so 1, 2, 3. So we could do it with engineering, but we need the road in place. Without it, we have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like that extra turn matters. So yeah, getting a few more workers out, and then As you can see, there's a few cottages that have been used for egg-corn that these tiles will have to be given up soon. Um, so we need to get a move on with improving total line, and quite a few cities actually. I mean, working these cottages has been really good for making sure that we didn't have to focus on so many beaker and gold multipliers, that we could focus them all into egg-corn. We could grow all the cottages very quickly with a limited happy cap, which we had at the time, around about turn 70. But we have really neglected these cities. You see the stable, we only built that because of a quest that basically meant we got the stables for 10 hammers and then we got a free horse archer. Other than that, it's got a granary, it's got nothing. It's just a bit dire, in fact. Oh, this city's fun. Oh, it's only +4. Oh yeah, because it's just gone. It used to be +5, and we've whipped this city quite hard. I've actually stopped whipping it. Wreaking Havoc was our gold city. It seemed like everybody's had one metal happiness. And this is maybe a little bit of a sore point of contention, is that our gold, in fact a lot of our resources were all away from other people. So we would have had to have settled backwards to get it. If we'd settled backwards, we would have left ourselves with very limited land and no ability to control it. So Wreaking Havoc was our 4th city, and it's gradually gotten, at least it's got a lighthouse now. Didn't have like 20 turns ago. It's just finishing a war elephant so that the hammers don't go to waste, because we're going to need, there's a few war elephants, a few units being finished here and there, and it's just because we are going to need them to deal with Who's It, because of what we've settled with Pigeon English. There's no way DT is going to bother with dealing with Who's It anymore. He's our problem, we have to deal with him. So we're going to finish a few units, and then it's just carry on building up a bit of pop and then potentially whip it. As I said, we're looking at a golden age to revolt. We can get the next one in about 13 turns. We just want enough pop in 13 turns to benefit from that as much as possible, really, to run to even starve a few citizens down to get maybe the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th great person. Roll call. Okay, this city is actually important to us. This city is going to have to be the heroic epic city. However, we don't know when we're going to get literature. We do not have an heroic epic unit as yet, but if we attack Who's It and we don't screw it up and lose our entire stack, we will get enough. There'll be enough units that even if we got 1 experience point for each battle, we'd get a great general. We attach it to a unit. Et voila, there's the heroic epic unit. So this would be the heroic epic city. Originally, I've always said that it's really important to focus on being able to 1-turn horse archers and then 1-turn knights. Things are slightly different now because we have no reason to ever build knights except potentially to deal with DT. DT's already got so many knights. There's no point in that. We just want to get a few pikes down, defend. We want the walls so we can whip a castle if we need to, and then dump in a few pikes. We actually need to get pikes as well. So that's how far behind we are. But this city can just build. Ideally, we're hoping to get to Cavs. Doubtful that'll happen. More likely we get just cannon, and just try and get as much out of that as possible. We can't 1-turn cannon. Fairly sure we won't be able to do that here, but we'll be close. Nothing's going to be highly promoted. There's not even a barracks here, but it's just going to be sheer number of units. So this city's getting grown as quickly as possible. Needs to take the farm back, and then once we get civil service, we can farm a few more tiles. Like this cottage will get given over. So these tiles will be given over. This is a wine. That'll be improved soon. The cottage will be given over, and yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. Feeble position. Oh my god, the city that probably broke our back. I think this was city number. This one's city number 6, isn't it? Yeah, the city that wrecked Who's Its game, but well, one of them anyway. Our only source of iron. The rice still isn't irrigated simply because we don't have civil service. as you can tell, a lot of our cities have got a few cottages here and there, and they are going to just keep on working them. This city, though, again, we want to try and get civil service and just farm it, get it up to about, I don't know, size 13, 14. By the time the golden age, and then workshop everything, we might be able to get just a little bit of infrastructure in that time. Pyramid City. First time I've built pyramids in about 4 years, 3 years. I've been in this city. It's again working a few cottages for Eggcorn. This city is likely to. I mean, it was working a few scientists before, and I'm going to start working them again now it's regrown. But this city's likely to have to pop out another great person during a golden age. So I said it's grow it up a few more pop, and then start working scientists. We're in representation, so they're all working some scientists isn't bad for us at all. But I want the forge because that will give us a better chance at the engineer. If we get a low odds engineer, we might use it to try and snag a wonder. We might find that it's useful to bulb to get towards steel in time. I doubt that's the case. I seriously doubt that's the case, and that a two-person golden age is more likely. But if we get a low odds engineer, it at least gives us more options. Doesn't mean we don't use it for anything else. Most likely going to be forge and then barracks, to be honest. Maybe a grocer if we do go towards guilds. Okay, Eggcorn. This city is very see, we're a bit. What we're doing now is actually wrong. We shouldn't do this, but we don't have much choice. We needed a city that could get another 2 specialist slots on top of a library. That meant it had to be Eggcorn or, most likely, Cuttlefish. Cuttlefish could theoretically have done it, but we would have to have whipped really hard because there were very few hammers here. It's also a very risky city to do that in because Placo might try and take it. Placo might think that it's a single city, we won't fight too much over it, but if we're using it to generate a great person that we need for a golden age, we're just running a risk we don't want to. Also, it's only just started to grow again. It's actually been stagnant about size 10. If we had whipped it, we would have, we would have to wait quite a while just to get the market to a point where it was whippable by 5 pop, so yeah, we couldn't really do that. So no, we have to do it in Eggcorn. However, Eggcorn has to work as many cottages as possible, even though it's giving up a bunch to other cities. So in 13 turns we can take the specialists off and put them back on cottages. However, we need to build a palace because we want to use bureaucracy here because this is the city with all of the developed cottages. So which one's it going to be? Because you can't really get the hammers and get the great people points, so we're a little bit screwed by that. Really, when we're saving gold, well, we do have the market now, but that's not too important. We can give some cottages over to other cities and try and work some hills as well, but we don't have an awful lot of food. Once we get civil service, we can get an extra 2 food here, so it'd go from +1 to +3. Then we can work some hills, and we might get an extra 7 hammers a turn. It's a little bit, every little helps. But we are in a little bit of a conundrum, and you can look at it and say that actually we're trying to do too much in this single city, and you would be right. That's a little bit of analysis for you to think about. Nautical Mile is a city we settled for ivory and for horse. We wanted those resources, we didn't have them, so we crammed it in here. And it doesn't have much food. As you can tell, it's got one single food resource, and I think you can tell that Realms Beyond maps are actually quite food heavy when you look at this. It's got a 6 food resource, and say that actually it's quite a slow city and we've not done an awful lot with it. Because we really haven't. It's produced maybe 50 hammers worth of units on top, and then that's it. No, 75 hammers worth of units, really, because of the stable whip effectively giving us the horse archer as a quest. So but no, okay, screw it. Basically, again, granary lighthouse and not much else. It's not whipped much at all. It's just sat there and it costs us gold. Well, it did. Now it's actually getting quite good. It's building a forge, and it might seem like a really stupid thing to build, but wealth doesn't do anything for us now. Um, we're already so far down in a hole that building wealth's not, with 6 hammers per turn, is not going to help us. So we might as well play for the win and try for that long-term solution where we get our infrastructure down, we get our population up, we crawl back into the tech race slowly but surely. We are financial. We do get cheap observatories from creative. We do get cheap banks. We have all these things that are going to start coming towards us shortly when Dite's slowing down and all he has is city garrison on his muskets, well, RMOs, and then rifles. But here, get a forge, and workshop some of the grassland. The main reason to say that is this is actually going to be a useful port city. We have quite a few coastal cities. And that's actually why we didn't go completely bankrupt, was that we built the lighthouses and we worked financial coast, and not cottages, because we couldn't even wait the 10 turns for them to pop to become the same as financial coast. We needed that extra 20 commas, which is what it worked down to onto per tile. So we're finishing the forge. We'll build the forge, and slowly and surely. The chop can go into it. The chops were saved for... Oh, I'll come to that later. The chops can go into that and help speed it up a little bit. Cuddlefish, love this city. Absolutely amazing. Lots of food, and pisses off Placo no end. If Placo had known there was stone over here, I'm fairly sure he would have settled it much sooner. I don't believe that he would have ignored that stone. I'm fairly sure that he would have settled for that stone, and maybe one north on the grass hill. Just settled there, taken the stone, and built a few more wonders with it. It's because he's playing Louis, so he's industrious, so that extra 50% is not bad for him. But no, as you can see, work every single coastal tile. 2 more happiness left. There's only 1 improved tile, but we have the scientists. 11 food surplus. We are going to have to whip something, and there's a reasonable chance it might actually be a market again, and start stacking up the great person points here and try and get... This city would most likely not get us the 300 point one in the golden age. We want to try and just get it so that we got the 300 and 400 points in cities that just about can reach that, and then this city just burns through the food all at the end and gets out the 500 or 600 one. That's possible, but there's a good chance we actually do start to whip this. I'm going to move that onto there. Yeah, that's about right. I might even build. It's 9. Save 6, save 23, 29. Need 48, so need 19. That's a point, isn't it? No. I do this for 1 turn. I work that next turn, and it'll grow a turn. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to point out we don't even have code laws. We don't have courthouses. If we just whipped that's what we might whip actually, and just work a spy if we have to, and save the 5, because that extra 5 gold per turn we'd be saving also goes through inflation, so it matters. I whipped this city for a worker 18. I think we've lost one to Roth, haven't we? That we took from him. Yeah, not a great city, but it holds the borders with him. We are already at 40% defense, and we are nowhere near taking the crab. Doesn't matter. That's not why we wanted the city there. We wanted it there because it blocked Rough settling a city on that desert. And it does have a library. Luckily, with us being a representation working scientists, they're effectively tiles. All specialists are just another tile to work that don't give any food. 6 speakers is fine, even in a city like this that we kind of want to grow, because it's not got an awful lot of spare food. we need to farm it. You work the farms, you grow a bit faster, you got to improve more tiles. It's quite a lot of work, requires quite a lot of work to do that. Work turns cost, and yes, you should do it. It's more more effective if you do it that way. But yeah, priorities. Dump it in. Probably dump this in, regrow, and then yeah, I'll dump that in, then I'll regrow it. That's it. Pass mustard. I'm whipping this for 2 pop because we could have whipped. Novice set it up specifically to chop a settler and not whip it because there was no way to regrow. Because we've already given up the wheat to another city, so there's no food. However, we don't have any tiles to work. That's actually a reasonably big problem. If I whip 2 of these, I'm going to whip 2 of these now off, so it'll go from +4 and it'll only need 32. So it'll take 3 turns to regrow. And it might grow onto a mine. And then build another worker. We just need the workers. We still have a bunch of bowmen in here. We're not... Basically, I don't give a shit about Ruff. He's not a problem, not someone I care about. He's got axes and spears there. If he wants to try and land and take these down, he's not doing it with knights. I mean, DT's a much bigger threat. I give it out the two, DT's going to win. It's like Ruff's 270 score, and DT's at 670 score. I mean, score is not a perfect indicator of the level of ability of a player or any of that crap, but level of ability to fuck up your game, basically. DT is much worse. So I'm not bothered about getting too many units here. We can't even build longbows. I mean, we can't really defend against that, against anything. But Ruff, all we need would be longbows to deal with Ruff, and we can reach them and whip them as long as we've got enough. We have enough population. Actually, yeah, so what those do. Next, God's End was going to be the Male City, and then we found out Ruff was down there and Placa was above us, and we were just screwed in getting enough coastal tiles, and we lost a couple of forests. So we just leave it there. At the end, being annoying because this is our continent, and Ruff isn't going to get any of that crap, basically. And it's building catapult. What's there to say? We could really do with getting a barracks, but actually we do kind of need some more cats to deal with who's it. So I'm really considering. Well, I can only 1-pop whip it now actually, so kind of fucked that one up. Whatever, leave it to grow. Don't care. Mind grain needs to. Again, you see so many coast working and no workers, so I might just grow it a little bit. Grow it. No, I'm going to whip it now. I'm actually going to do it now. Yeah. I'll whip that for 2-pop next turn. Whale away. This is going to be the Mouse City, and this is godly. Just look at that city. Whip this for 1-pop. This is the problem with this city. Because we're whipping it, we're not able to keep it large enough that it keeps the representation happiness. It doesn't have any other happiness multipliers. So we would need to whip them and then overflow into Mao. But we're just too much pop to do that effectively. We could really do with a religion, an organised religion. But for the extra 25%, it's just not working. But no, a barb came around and pillaged the fish net, so we have to replace that. So I'm going to whip that. And overflow out 20, which will become 40 hammers, so we'll be at 64 out of 250 for Mao, and we're just going to have to keep on doing that. Chop 2 more tiles, it's 30, they become... Oh shit, it's not. It's only 50%, isn't it? Yeah, it's only 50%, so that 20 becomes 30. So that becomes 54. 60 is 90. 94. So we need to make 106 extra adjusted. So it's probably going to be about 70-ish due to rounding issues. We'll have to mine the hill, note that as well. But it's not going to be difficult. It's just going to take some time. Tartar sauce was basically just a felicity essentially, but it doesn't have much food either. That was one of the problems with tartar sauce and with nautical mile, is that there just wasn't enough food. So I'm trying to not whip them, and just trying to grow them slowly. After the catapult, I'm tempted to either go for a forge again, chop it, and again get some workshops down. Not getting any workers out of nautical mile or tartar sauce. They'll have to come from elsewhere with places with a higher food surplus, because they need to grow vertically to the happy cap. Get a forge, get a barracks, and eventually get a dry docks and do the same thing for boats as well. Just pump out a few units. So it's not going to be amazing. They're not worth giving a lot of infrastructure to, but forge and a barracks, maybe a stable, but no. Not going to get a library or anything like that, because it doesn't have the food to run specialist. Bated breath got us our furs. What am I doing with this city again? Because there's a chop coming in, isn't there? Chop comes in a few turns. I need to whip the granary. And the chop either goes to holiday sauce or it goes into bated breath. Best place is actually going to be bated breath. I think it is bated breath. Or is it? But basically, who gives a crap? Gives a crap is broken. Hook the incense. I should have had. I'm actually chopping a workboat. I should have moved the other one up as well. You're 18, aren't you? You can wait. So I'm going to do what I should have done first, which is scout. So we have a bunch of sentry chariots, but DT's got nothing down here. He's got an axe in Mankins. Yeah, the pigs is always able to one move dire straits. So there's nothing there. And the chariot has the view here, and there's nothing in there. So that's basically all of it. All the stuff that we need to check. Just have a quick look here. Ataturk has made peace. Details in organised religion. He's building again. Yeah. Ataturk. Okay, I need to offer him open borders. Oh fuck. Shit. Hit any key. Offer him peace. What the fuck? That makes no sense. Yeah, we've got a bunch of units that are out scouting. Essentially, trying to. Ooh. Oh, it's on the river. That's fine. Yeah, let's have a look around here. Budget units out scouting, galleys and with units on them so that we can try and get a bit of understanding. Over the map. Oh, is that BGN? Yeah. Okay, so we found BGN. Wait, that's the Japanese Empire. Oh, God knows. Yeah, we've, as said, this is a game with 33 people. A couple of people are dead and there's lurkers in it. Lurkers are playing a civ that's actually all the way down here. And we're just trying to meet people. Map trading is disabled for this game, so you have to scout. And because the way the known tech bonus works, you want to meet people because that basically does give you an economic advantage. So yeah. There we go. In our case, we're just going through. Like, this is the point. We make 94 beakers per turn here, but we make 39 without it. We're 0% slided from specialist. Priesthood is 103 beakers, but you can see from that bar that it's more like we're making 60 beakers per turn, but we're only making really 40. It's because of the known tech bonus. Whilst we have a small bonus from knowing prerequisites, like in this case polytheism, so many other people have priesthood that we actually benefit from. From each person who knows priesthood, we gain, well, either 4% per person or 6% per person. It's 4% if nobody's in the Renaissance era, it's 6% if at least one person in the game is. But we've not met everyone, we don't know that. Dite will enter very shortly, so once he gets education, we will definitely be there. We don't know if BG ends at that point, or what, so... Well, you can't know everything. Really... I can't be arsed, I've got other stuff to do today. Move him back there, move him back there. As I said, we're trying to be as unthreatening as possible. But I'm going to be really stupid and stack all of those workers in one. So, Control A because I can't be arsed dealing with this. Make everything work. So that jungle's disappeared. We have a trireme that killed a galley. He got very lucky. Barb galley, move him back. That worker. Novice actually uses some really weird... I don't agree with the way he labels it. He uses 4 turn at farm, 40F, when normally I would have thought that means he's put 4 worker turns in, but it's not. It's only 4 turns until the farm is done. So it's like 4 till farm. I think you should label it with the amount of worker turns put in there, because you can actually put multiple worker turns into different tile improvements. So perhaps a fort is 1 turn from completion, a farm is 1 turn from completion, a cottage is 1 turn from completion. And it's most important that you do that actually for workshops, farms and forts. Forts, so that if you ever have to fort a tile, you can do it with the minimum amount of worker turns when you're at war, like at a given on that given turn. So you can just put, maybe you can set up a 5 fort chain, and then on that 1 turn you need it, it takes 5 worker turns. It means you've got foresight, but it means it's easier to actually manage, because you don't have to grab all your workers in your entire empire and shove them in one small space. Quite nice to have foresight, but it's important to do it for farms, for when you get biology and you suddenly have a growth spurt, and it's even more important for when you do it with workshops, for when you get into state property. And on the turn that you revolt into it, you just want to workshop and watermill about 50, 60 tiles all at once, and you've got them all set up. Oh, so that's the word. Okay. A lot of the war elephants, I'm trying to move down towards Pigeon English. I said we can't hold it. There is no point putting pikes in there. They will die. They'll get odds, but then they'll die because we just don't have enough. Put a pike in Roll Call or Dire Straits, which are both on hills, can both have castle. He's not getting through that. I'm sorry, but Dite would have to do an awful lot to get through that. He would have to bring back all his knights. He would have to build some trebs. He would have to get a stack together and do it. He could do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's impossible for him to take him, but it would take him enough time that we would actually look at his demographics and think, ah, yeah, you're doing that. You're building up now. Why are you doing that? DT actually chopped this forest, and we didn't stop him. We could have declared war and done it, but we would have lost Pigeon English. As it is, it was most important we got Pigeon English down and we stopped him attacking Plano and then running around here at night, because we couldn't have defended any of our south. We're just not set up to do so. We need to settle another city here for the cow, for the sheep. I might even move it over actually. Oh yeah, it was also for the wheat, so we could get that, because we could irrigate the shit out of Turtle Island and hand the wheat over and grow this city quickly. That was why I was there. So yeah, our aim is to get Plano and Chill Lakes, and that's it, that's our border. And basically, we'll squeeze Dite into this really long strip of land all the way around us. And because of this lake, it makes, well, the sea really, it makes it quite hard for him to attack us and defend his other areas. So if we're ever in a position where we do pose a credible threat to him, or to different areas, he would just need to throw so many resources at us that he wouldn't be able to do it cheaply, and there would be better options. Well, at least that's the aim. Whether we get there, we don't know just yet. But he is going through CH Cheetah Hater quite quickly. Oh well. That road's... You need to irrigate that. I'll do a watermill that. Irrigate it, because we need to farm every single tile. Move you up here. Okay, so there's nothing on here, and there's not an awful... There's not much there. Nothing here. Who's it's just logging in and then doing that. I've offered peace to hit Aniki. I can't outrun him now. I could declare on Bacchus, but I don't want to, so I'm going to just run away. And that's pretty much the entire turn done. This turn has taken me 50 minutes to go through from logging in to discuss, to explain. But really, there's not a lot to explain about it. It's not really a difficult game to understand here, because really there's no control we don't really have much control. Dite is the one who has all the control. We are reacting to him, but we're trying to be as proactive as possible by planning ahead to what we're trying to plan ahead, so that he knows what our capabilities are, and making sure that those capabilities are not something he wants to deal with, and so that he decides not to attack us, and he decides that he has better options. Because there's not a point where we can make it such that it is impossible to kill us, because he can. It's just that the cost is going to be too high, and that's what we've been trying to do since about turn 60. Well, turn 50 really, because when we planted the front cities here, Feeble Position, Roll Call, and Dire Straits, we settled them in such a way that they're actually, without engineering, they were defendable by slow movers. We just needed we just needed units here. I forgot what the ping button is, that's bad. So here and here, we could actually get units into we could get one stack into a front city, and the other stack would be a turn away. So we actually could defend with this position, even with the way the rivers were set up. And by settling roll call where we did, it was after DT had settled Mankins and Gronk. There's nowhere else that he could have settled towards us to try and put cultural pressure on us. We're creative. That would have been hard anyway, but he could have chopped in a monument, well, a stele actually. He would have got plus 25% culture, so it's possible. He could have chopped that in, chopped in a library, chopped in a barracks, or even gone for a cheap building. It would have been possible he did that if we'd settled further back. So we had to settle forward, and we had to get it before he settled that area. Because once he settled in that area, we would have, if he'd settled roll call, maybe here, we would have been unable to defend both dire straits and feeble position at the same time, because his culture would have protruded in such a way that we would have to have run all the way around. And without engineering, there's no way we could have done that. If we'd have positioned them right between feeble position dire straits, he could have just he would have been really aggressive towards him, and he could have just alpha striked him and destroyed him. So we had to get roll call where it was. Feeble position we settled really to stop who's it from trying to encroach on us. Feeble position wasn't actually necessary, but again we put it in a position where who's it could actually settle on us. But it would have been the wrong side of the hills, so we could have walked up onto the hills and then attacked him, and he would have had no food, because the rice, which is only 4 food anyway, was in a ring for us. Same with the deer. And then Eggcorn used this one anyway, this food resource. So really, we decided to do that turn 50 because there was no way in hell we were ever going to be able to attack somebody at turn 120 and take it. I mean, DT got to knights at 120. There is no way we got there in that time. So we made, I'd have to say, the right choice considering where we are in the score and with everything else to settle these and then try and hold, because we've managed to do that. We've used creative as well as we could. We've used the Babylonian bowman as well as we could. It's got plus 50% against melee. So the only thing you can really do against them is chariot rush, which with the way the jungle was set up and because there was jungle on these tiles and everything, so it was quite hard to get through from Dite. And who's it screwed up anyway because he built too many archers. He researched archery, that's not a problem. He's against Zululand on the other side, but he didn't use them to claim his land, at least against us. I mean, it's a bit... I mean, he really didn't. I mean, that's dry wheat, which is from his capital. He settled for grass, cow and copper. He settled on horse for the crap. That's silver. I think that might be popped, actually. Yeah, I think that's popped, because he's had gems for quite a while, so that one might be popped. He just didn't... I don't think Who's It played the start out as well as he possibly could have. But saying that, it was an unwinnable position anyway, so I don't blame him for that, as it were. He could have, with that start, he could have done what precisely? Settle towards us, get one extra city. Not getting in, doesn't really matter. What he did, he was just going to get squeezed from too many sides. He didn't have any backlines or anything. Yeah, I mean... For now, we're just going to take priesthood. We're going to continue saving gold, but finishing cheap stuff in one turn. Alright, we'll finish priesthood this turn. We'll do monarchy next turn. We'll get that in one. I mean, that's like break even for us is 260. So if we go up to, I mean, and we got alphabet, which is slightly cheaper. In one turn at 40%, so we might get. Monarchy, I expect to get it in one turn at 50%. So we'll have maybe it's 200. So we've about 240 gold left after doing that, which is not quite 100%. It's about maybe 80%, maybe 90%. No, it's more than 80%. It's maybe 90% worth of tech for a single turn, which is going to be about half of feudalism. Or all of Code of Laws. We don't need Code of Laws immediately because we aren't going to revolt the cast. So I said we get priesthood turn 134. We go for next turn monarchy 40%, and then we save gold on feud. And if we do that for 2 turns, we'll have, at 0, we'll have enough for, what, 60 is that? $600. So we'll get monarchy, we'll get feudalism easy. Like, we save gold for these 2 turns, we'll easily get feudalism at 100% and 80%, easily. No concerns at all with that. Yeah. I expect we go Code of Laws after that. We're looking at a great person end of turn 147. So we could have a Golden Age at 148. We don't have to trigger it immediately, but we could do. So the aim is that on the first turn of the Golden Age, we always have something to. We always revolt into the civics you want, and then you revolt into what you want at the end, so you get 2 sets. Well, we'd want to revolt into civil service, so that would mean we'd need Code of Laws, and we would need civil service. I said Code of Laws is like... Code of Laws a lot of people have, it's not a problem. With DT getting education and the Renaissance era coming around, and we get a 6% per person knowing a tech for bonus, and we make 600 base anyway? I mean, this is not really a problem. By that point, growing as cities, you should be able to make, maybe, who knows, 700, 750 base. We can get, we should be able to get Code Laws easily and civil service by that time. I have no problem at all with that. The problem is when if we get literature or aesthetics. Now we actually need both of those because, as I said, we're trying to deal with Dite. The only way to deal with him is not going to be with knights, it will be to deal with him using rifles and cavs and try and get to a military tech advantage, like tech parity. But we kind of want banks because they're cheap for us. We're financial, they are cheap, we want them. That means we have to go through guilds anyway. That gives us better workshops, we need to do them anyway. So what we're likely to do is, we don't need, well, there's 2 points for literature. Aesthetics means nothing because all these have gone, all these wonders are gone. We don't benefit from drama and there is nothing at music. We only want literature. So literature is essentially a 850 beak attack, it's quite a lot. It gives us the opportunity to build 2 epics. One of which we can't build until we kill, we attack Cusick, that's it. So we have to consider the national epic where we would build it, and there's not many places we really give a crap about it going. There's not many places we can shove it that are safe. Roll Call would stupidly enough be the best place for us to put it, but if we're putting the heroic epic there, we can't put both. So we would probably put it in. See, I don't want to put it in dire straits because that's just risky. Old Timers doesn't have enough food. Free Reign neither, because it's given up a bit there. Whale Away is probably the only place to put it, but doesn't have enough. Won't have enough happens to deal with both. Working all the coast and that, I think. Oh, will it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. So that's 22, it would work everything. So actually there's a chance there. There would be a chance anyway once all weapon happiness has gone away. And building it is viable there after we've got Mao. But Mao's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to finish Mao and then start it. We've got time, we don't need to get literature. So what we're most likely to do is in fact just get monarchy. We want it for the wines. That's what we want it for. We can then go for feudalism because it does give us some safety. It is true. We will have longbows. It will give us some safety from rough. Not something I really give a shit about, but it is there. It's also on the path towards guilds. If we needed to go knights, we would then have the option. As I said, we don't need... But what we're more likely to do is to then go for civil service. So save gold on Code Laws and then civil service. What I expect will actually happen is we're going to finish monarchy next turn, and then we're going to put tech onto Code of Laws, and we're going to stay there. And we're just going to leave it on Code of Laws until we're ready to blitz out. Because we might even get Code of Laws, feudalism and civil service in like 4 turns. it's feasible we get them in 4 turns. And if we needed to revolt turn 148, so we finish them all 47, 47, 6, 5 and 4, we'd have, hopefully we could have close to 2,000 gold. So we'd probably have a few more turns worth of of research at that point. And we could then hopefully get guilds. Hopefully we could get guilds in 2. If that's 4 turns, we had enough for 7. That would be 2 turns for that, and then just scrape through banking. And we'd basically be finished at that point. We'd have to go back to saving gold, having just got the ability to build the gold generating buildings, grocer and bank. We really are looking towards getting economics, but it's like, as novice, talking with novice, we decided what it is we wanted from the Renaissance era. It was like, oh well, we kind of want rifles because we can draft rifles. We've got some happiness. We can do that. We're delaying our golden ages, or we have delayed them effectively. Not through choice, but we have delayed them. So we could get into nationalism, get into nationhood, start drafting them. We'd be fine. Actually, Cav would be really good. That Cav would be fine. That'd help us stop anything from DTA. We could just do that. But that means we need music. That means we need nationalism. We don't care about constitution. We've already got representation. But oh yeah, we want steel as well. We need to bomb everything down. We need to deal with the collateral because if DTA's dealing with cannon, we need cannon as well. Otherwise, our cats will just bounce off everything and do no damage. Oh wait, look what we need. We need everything. It's like we can't do that. We aren't going to get anywhere near what we need. The most likely thing is we get guilds. Well, we get civil service and then we get guilds and then we literally stop. Because at that point we'll have gotten the cheap stuff. Banking is 1200. That's fine. We can afford that. Education is 38. It is more than 3 times more expensive than banking. Education is more than banking, guilds, and well, actually, feudalism. Banking's 2414. It's maybe 3. It's 300 because more to get feudalism, guilds, and banking than it is to get education. But considering the known tech bonus that we will receive of other people, it might be about the same. Might be a little bit less. Because I expect by the time we want to start researching into education, there will not be anywhere near as many people who have it as have feudalism and guilds. Banking, I don't think anyone will have. Mercantilism is not good on this map because of the trade routes. However, if we grow our island cities, or specifically grow one, well no, we've already grown one in Cuttlefish, and we can grow that through the roof. That is not a problem. If we grow one more, we'll have enough from all of our trade routes that it'll be very similar, very, very similar to, considering that we can be in representation and caste system, so we'll get a free 6 speakers per city from a free scientist. Because we get that, mercantilism is not too bad. For a lot of others it sucks, but most people therefore won't go banking because banks are 200 hammers, are too expensive. We're financial, they only cost us 100. And because our slider break even is like 40%, we are going to benefit from them quite a lot. So for us, banking is actually quite good, even if guilds for knights isn't. So we want to get the banking and stop there. We might just run along at break even and paper whilst we still build a few banks. But yeah, tech trading is not in this game. We might just trickle along, do paper at break even, and then stop. And try and benefit a bit more from the known tech bonus. I don't expect we will. I think people are starting to realise that the benefits techs give you are worth researching. It's worth being the first there, so you get that benefit for an extra 5 turns, and that's how you snowball. The idea that it's not worth researching and that you should sit there and wait for someone else to make a move will actually break down very quickly, because people will realise that their gold is worthless, that they've built these cottages and they aren't doing anything with them because, oh wait, I need to upgrade some units. You can do that for so long But if you don't research Miltrad, you cannot upgrade knights. It's just not something you can do. So you have to research them. And it turns out that other people catch up. And sometimes those cottages you invested in, compared to someone else building too many workshops, well, not too many, but more workshops, and spamming a few more cities earlier in the game, they end up with more units than you do, and they do catch up. So some people are carrying on, but and they are carrying on researching. DTA with education, he's going for lib. He might. Don't know what he'll do. But he's got guilds. He could easily take lib to economics, but it's not. It's like not necessarily that great. Environmentalism's probably. It might be worth it for him if he's got that many farms. The free religion probably isn't. Not with such a well spread. Not with the best religion in the game. In this game, anyway. Printing press. You wouldn't take lib to printing press, but you could take lib to rep parts. That's not too bad at all. God forbid he takes it to rifling, then we're fucked. There's nothing we can do then. We probably will just lose if he does that. The only way we could deal with that would be consecutive golden ages and somehow get to steal. But even then, there's nothing we could really do. We'd have to kill it. I don't like running up to Grenadiers and steal, because we have no... We'd just be trying to brute force everything up there. It's not worth it. So we're probably going to just get monarchy, then get code laws, civil service, feudalism, guilds, banking, in some order. Stop. Then we'll get aesthetics and literature when we decide we are ready to start the epics, and then we'll go for economics, so we get the free trade route from free market and the bonus on trade yields. That's what we're likely to do. The problem is there's no way we can get to economics for the end of the first golden age. That is not possible. But it is possible that we trigger this. No, it's not just possible. We should be able to trigger the golden age, go straight into free market when we have economics, and get paper, education, and economics there. So maybe we detour and take PP first, and then go paper, PP, education. Don't know, because we will have a few cottages, so it's a bit. PP's worth it because it's just a free bonus, and then it's a free bonus provided it doesn't just delay like economics by an extra 5 turns, and then we just delay having that bonus for 5 turns, because yeah, the extra trade route from free market's probably worth it. We did do alphabet this turn, well last turn, just so we can start asking for trade routes. Open borders with everybody. I think this is pretty much everything. I can't see anything else to do. I'm not moving on. Who's it? Ideally he just delete his units, but what he's supposed to do is just keep him around until we build too much crap, move in to invade him, and if he thinks he can't kill much at all, and give us the experience points which we want for the Great General, if he just deleted all his units then, that'd probably be the most damaging thing he can do. But there's not much he can do. He's got enough units that without engineering he can't move in. He can move forward, and then he moves forward, then we move a bunch of stuff down, then he moves in, and then we just hit him. We've got like 4, 8, 19 things that can kill him. Easy. We just need the cats. We don't have too many, we only have 3, so I do actually need to move a few down. I said, that's what I mean, we need a few more cats here and there. And then we need a few more cats, and then probably about 15 real, like 15 knights would just cut through Plano and no losses, but they'd be worthless to us. Unless we somehow, I don't know, attack rough afterwards. But that's not happening. We just need to sit and build, because even now, we still have the most land in the game. And it's not bad land. It's quite good land, We don't have much tundra. I mean, we've only got one. Okay, we've got a few. We've got 4 tundra cities. Okay, most of that land is actually not land. It's coast. That doesn't factor into those figures. We're financial. We want the coast. That's good for us. So really, when I look at this, I'm like, we don't actually need to go and kill people just yet. We do have time to keep on building. Our soldiers are second. God knows how. And DT is higher than us, I'm fairly sure. Yeah, DT is higher than us, but we're still second. Our crop yield, it's third, but it's down 17. It's down like 4%. There's down nothing on first place. Our MFG is gradually getting up there. It still sucks though. GNP, as already said, we've got our own plan, and we're not going to win any races in Renaissance. We get what we need, which we can get in the next 15 turns. Well, next 16 turns, probably. Trigger the Golden Age and then just scrape through to the final few things, and then just carry on saving gold and building in the end of the Golden Age. We can do that. Or we could just delay it a few turns, maybe 5 or 6 turns, and then get to banking. And then the moment we get to banking, we trigger the Golden Age, and we just go straight into everything, all the civics. We don't expect to revolt out at the end. People think we might, but we don't. And we just save gold, and we build our banks, and then we save even more gold, and we just wait and see. We wait and see what happens, and then we blitz through everything. When we've got the palace down with the move and all that crap. That's our probable plan. The question is, does Detail let us do that? That's something we don't have the answer to. If we could see Pindicator, because we know Detail's been at war with Pindicator, but we don't know where he is. We can't make that judgment. If Pindicator's right on Detail's border, it might be that Pindicator looks tastier than us. It might be that DT decides he's got a good chunk of land, we can handle his current units, and he would rather build. He's just gone into organised religion, he could decide to do that and it's fine. But it could be by the time we trigger that Golden Age that he's ready to start building units again. We have to trigger the Golden Age anyway, and then we build units. We'll see. I expect DT is about to come out of a Golden Age, and he has education still took him 5 turns. It might take him 6, 7. So, and he's got to build the universities. He's got to build Oxford, and then carry on. So, yeah, the game's not as straightforward as it seems. If you want to know the whole overview of what's happening, but for us, it is pretty simple. Oh yeah. One last look through the cities. Yeah, build a forge, because there's nothing else to build. The forge and then the bank is the ideal one. Finish the castle, keep on growing, try and whip a forge. Probably going to whip away an awful lot of population, though, to do that. You need to whip. No, you work that. Don't whip you because you just don't have anything to work at all. That just keeps on growing because I will need to build epics there eventually, or at least the mines on the hills. You keep on growing. You need to grow as well a little bit. A few more pop, and then I can give you up some of the farms. But keep on building a few. No, I don't think detail attack. Build a barracks. Ooh, yeah, build a barracks. No, actually finish the pike. I want the pike. Forge. Keep on growing. Actually, yeah, that looks about right. You just, I mean, just to point out, I'm working this cottage, this cottage because this is the only city that can reach it. So this is the one reason why it's working it and slowing growth, because I need to grow every single cottage, and they are all being worked. That's the last one that will grow to a town. Yes, forge, war elephant, and then forge. Oh wait, no. Yeah. More worker then grow on a lighthouse probably. No, not a lighthouse. There's nothing there to do. Maybe on a barracks or another forge because I said I'm going for the long view now. And if I've got the idea that I can be in a golden age soon, I could potentially decide that vassalage is the right choice. I seriously doubt I'm ever going to do that, but it's there if I decide it. And that'll mean that I don't need to build barracks anywhere, so I could just keep on building the forges rather than having a few barracks some places and then thinking, oh, fuck it, I still need to build that and still need vassalage because I need the experience points on every single unit. So no, that gets a worker, that will regrow, and then maybe a second. Who knows? I might just whip that for a worker actually. Yeah, I'm gonna 9. I'm gonna whip that for a worker, and then overflow into the catapult. Worker next turn. Workboat to hook up the fish again. Keep on overflowing to Mao, and then when I can't do that, build Mao. Almost finish the catapult. Don't whip it that. Don't whip this sea ever. I could 2-whip it next turn. I don't care. Probably won't though. You were supposed to be whipped, weren't you? Granary. It's fine. I will hook the incense first, and then the sheep, and then go back, and then mine the Plains Hill last of also 34, 35, on 36. 1 finishes and 2 move here. 37. What they would basically finish that, and this grows into 37, so be ready for 38. 34, 35, 36, 37 he mines. 38 he can wander off. And they'll both move. Oh no. 4, 5, 6, 7 he mines, 8 he mines, 9 he wanders off. Because these two come in and finish that one as well, and they're back on the road network, no problem. Pigeon English. This city could do with every single cultural item in the game, except that it will get wiped off the face of the map by DTA if I do that. Play it safe, don't put in too much culture, maybe put in a pike or two, give it walls. Most importantly for the next few turns whilst DTA is focused on cheetah hater, get the granary down. There's nothing to chop, can't do it, therefore let it grow again. Quickly grow it to size 4 and double whip it. And that means I need 1, 2, 3, overflow 8. Would need 26, which means I need 18. I will work that for 2 turns, and it will grow with no food spare. So that will put me this at 4. Then I'll work that for 2 turns, which is 6 total, so that's 10. So I'll be able to whip 50 hammers into it. Bob's your uncle. Whip the granary. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on 9. Turn 139. Whip the granary. And then potentially 1 pop. And then put a turn into the wall and potentially 1 pop whip that if I need to. There's no real point putting the walls in there. Not the castle, yes, not the walls. And I'm going to chop the workboat, and then chop the granary. And we're back. And that's it. And that's everything. This has been a very long broadcast. I hope that it's been useful. I know I was asked specifically for a report. I don't actually have time to do that. Today, tomorrow, I don't have time to do it at all, unfortunately. So I hope this will meet everyone's wishes. I've not even gone into what anyone's done not really gone into much history for at all. Not for the game, but apart from for us, a little bit for us, and that's it. So, as I said, I hope it's been helpful. Hopefully, Novice will have to take the game over next week, and he might post a little bit. I can't promise he'll do that. I hope he does, simply so I can keep on reading when I get the chance, and keeping up with the game. But it's, if you take one thing away from it, it's don't be disappointed if we don't write anything. It's because he's not really missing much, and I'm sure we'll show any wars with any real battles. Anyway, I hope that's everything, and I hope you have a good. If you enjoyed it, and hope you have a good day.